are human rights, and the United States will stand up for them everywhere. I also call upon the Egyptian government to reverse the
socialist in chief. Listen to what he's saying live now.
Cell phone service and to social networks that do so much to connect people in the 21st century.
Are you crazy?
At the same time, those protesting in the streets have a responsibility to express themselves peacefully.
Are you nuts?
Violence and destruction will not lead to the reforms that they seek. Now, going forward, this moment of volatility has to be turned into a moment of promise.
Oh,
the United
my God.
States has a close partnership with Egypt, and we've cooperated on many issues.
That you had nothing to do with. All you're doing is destroying a partnership that was built over 30 years.
It's also been clear that there must be reform.
Why?
Political,
what reform?
Social, and economic reforms that meet the
Economic
aspirations
reform.
of the Egyptian people.
What does that mean?
What
does that mean? So General Electric can do more business in Egypt? What is this about?
When President Mubarak addressed the Egyptian people tonight, he pledged a better democracy and greater economic opportunity. I just spoke to him after his speech, and I told him he has a responsibility to give meaning to those words, to take concrete steps and actions that deliver on that promise. Violence will not address the grievances of the Egyptian people, and suppressing ideas never.
Here is the community organizer now, using community organizational mentality for a nation of Egypt, which is flooded with the Muslim Brotherhood. This is astounding. We're listening to the biggest mistake in U.S. diplomatic history.
Of greater freedom and greater opportunity and justice for the Egyptian people.
This pinheaded fool running this country either doesn't know his history or he's on the side of radical Islam. There's no two ways about it.
People want the same things that we all want: a better life for ourselves and our children.
What the heck does that mean?
That is fair and just and responsive.
This is the rhetoric you would have heard from the Black Panthers in the streets of America in the 1960s.
The heirs to a great and ancient civilization. The United States always will be a partner in pursuit of that future, and we are committed to working with the Egyptian government and the Egyptian people, all quarters, to achieve it. Around the world, governments have an obligation to respond to their citizens.
Oh, really? Did you respond to your citizens when we said no more spending, no more goons, no more unionism? No more stealing from the Treasury, you liar, you!
Where a new generation of citizens has the right to be heard.
How about this generation in this country? We have a right to not be fleeced by you and your union thugs.
Maintain power through consent, not coercion. That is the single standard by which the people of Egypt will achieve the future they deserve.
Have you ever heard a bigger liar in your life than this man?
But the United States
a more myopic president never existed.
Of the Egyptian people, and work with their government in pursuit of a future that is more just, more free, and more hopeful.
The community organizer. There it was, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard it. You just heard it with your own ears. If only we had the freedoms in this country that he was talking about, that he'd like to see for the democracy movement in Egypt. I'm going to tell you something that you may not like to hear, but I'll say it anyway. How come there's been no such mass riots in the United States of America where there is probably more discord than there is in Egypt? There are more people disenfranchised from this imposter and the thugs who have taken over this country and are raping the Treasury on a daily basis. There's more discord in America over what this thug and his minions are doing to this country and its Treasury than there is in Egypt, and yet there's been no social upheaval. Why is that? And I'll tell you why, something you're not going to want to hear. The Egyptian people are less afraid of the secret police than we are afraid of our secret police. We are so controlled in this country by the FBI, by DHS, and every other police agency in this country that there's almost no opportunity for such a so-called social networking revolution to occur in this country. You heard me. We are living in an absolute police state. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Oh, it doesn't feel like it. Then explain to me how so many people are disenfranchised by the imposter, his union goons, the Wall Street goons, and do nothing about it. How is it that one of the hedge fund traders took a $5 billion profit last year, one of the people who orchestrated the downturn in the economy? How is it possible that the last Treasury Secretary is not in jail? How is it possible that the people who were put in power to protect us did nothing to protect us, and now they're not even investigated? How is it possible that we, the American people, have not organized ourselves in the same way the Egyptians have? The answer is because they're less afraid of their secret police than we are of our secret police. We are terrified of our FBI. We are terrified of our DHS. We are terrified of all of these snoops and these satellites who are watching us every day. This country is a lockdown police state, and people fear for their freedom if they even speak out, let alone act out. They're afraid to say what they think at work. They're afraid to say what they think in their own house for fear their children will report them in a school. You tell me we're not living in a prison state? You're mistaken. And so when I hear this imposter of our president get up there with that thin little speech of his that he just gave, I'm sick. Which side was he on? You tell me which side Obama was just on. He was on the side of the rioters. He is on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood. He is on the side of radical Islam. Make no mistake about it, my friends. There's no other way to see it. He should have been supporting our ally in Egypt. He should have come out clearly and said that we will not tolerate the takeover of Egypt by radical forces. We will supply the U.S. military if necessary to protect our most important ally on the Suez Canal. We do not want destabilization in the Middle East. Our friends in Israel and our friends in Egypt are our friends now and forever, and we will support them even with the U.S. military, and I'm sending whatever to Egypt right now. He should have unleashed a contingent of military forces, Marines if necessary, to help the Egyptian government. Instead, it almost sounded as though he wanted the government to fall. I am telling you this happened before. We're watching history repeat itself. Jimmy Carter, the communist, Jimmy Carter, the lifetime America hater, Jimmy Carter, the Jew hater, did this back in 1980 with the Shah of Iran. It is history repeating itself. Many of you weren't around then, or you were children, or you don't even remember it. I'm lucky because I've been around a very long time. And I've seen it all. It's like watching the world go around again. I thought we would have learned from history, but apparently we haven't learned from history. And I have to repeat the great statement of the Spanish philosopher Santayana, who said, those who do not know their history are condemned to repeat it. Now, either Obama is as shallow as I think he is, or worse, he's in cahoots with the radicals around the world. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter to me anymore. I think Obama's on the wrong side of this issue. I'd like to talk with you about it today on the Savage Nation. I am ashamed of my president. I think he owes the people of the world an apology for what he